community and members of the clergy. Welcome to another video with the Record Spinner. In today's video, I'm going to be showcasing my Ghost vinyl collection. Now, Ghost is one of my favorite modern rock/metal bands, and if you are watching this video on the day that it is uploaded, they just released their 5th full-length studio album called Impera today, and I figured that I would join in on the fun/hype and showcase what I have in my Ghost vinyl collection. Now, Ghost is very much like Kiss in the sense that there are various different variants of pressings out there of their work, and you best believe that there are some fans out there that will get their hands on every pressing variant possible. And while I do own multiple copies of a couple of their albums, I am certainly not a part of that breed of fandom, but I do aim to get my hands on collectible pressings of Ghost records simply because they are a fun band to collect, and I do feel that I have a rather modest collection of their work, as you will see, and if you are a longtime viewer of my channel, expect to see lots of cool bootlegs as well. Now, given the fact that Ghost is still an active band, and there are surely going to be more releases from them down the line, this video will definitely outdate itself, and at some point I might do an updated follow-up in the long-distant future, but as of March 2022, this is my Ghost vinyl collection. So enough of the chit-chat, let's jump into what this video is all about. So we are actually going to be not starting with Opus Eponymous, but instead we are going to be starting with a bootleg, and this is called In the Beginning. Now this features the band's 3-track demo that was put out on MySpace when they first started in 2010, as well as it was released on cassette. There's also the single version of Elizabeth, which was basically recorded from the same sessions as the demo, and then there's also a live performance from the Live Evil Festival, which was in fact their second ever live performance. This bootleg is limited to 600 copies. I just happen to have copy number 308. It does feature a printed inner sleeve of various photos of Papa 1, and it does come pressed on red vinyl, and I love the nice touch of the cover of the cassette demo being featured as part of the center label on this side, and then here is the other side as well. And now we get into the Opus Eponymous territory. Now, I always make the joke that if you were to take a box of the Crayola 85 pack of crayons, there was most likely a colored pressing available of that color for Opus Eponymous. It has been repressed and reissued so many times on different colors and such, and needless to say, I do have a couple of copies on hand. So I'm going to be starting off with the first one. This is the copy that I got a little bit after I became a Ghost fan in 2017, after I saw them open for Iron Maiden. This, for a while, was the most commonly available pressing. Surprisingly, I think this came from Amazon. According to Discogs, it was put out for Record Store Day Black Friday in 2013 and is limited to 2,000 copies, but something tells me that the numbers might be wrong because this does commonly circulate. But needless to say, this is a very cool pressing because it does come pressed on split color opaque white and translucent blue colored vinyl, which overall I just think matches the color scheme of the album just perfectly. And then I recently got my hands on this newer pressing that just came out, I think, this past year. As you can tell, the cover is slightly different because there is this kind of silver foil inlay with the Ghost logo, which is very cool. Same back cover. Does come with a gatefold. There's also a version out there which is just a single sleeve, and the gatefold is made into an insert. I might get my hands on a copy of that sometime down the road, just for the sake of having that small difference. But this pressing here comes pressed on red sparkle vinyl. Hopefully you guys can see that effect on camera. And also, just as a minor note, the last track on side B, Genesis, is not listed on the label, so that's a little bit of minutia there to kind of sink your teeth into. And then we move on to the Infestum era, and what I have on hand is just a basic US press. You can obviously tell that it's a US press because it says Ghost BC for legal reasons. It was a brief period where they had to call themselves Ghost BC because there was another band called Ghost out there. And as you can tell by the artwork, it's kind of cropped. It's not the full artwork. It just kind of cuts out a lot of the edges. The European pressings don't come with the BC, and it has the full artwork. And there's also a illustration booklet that comes with the European pressings, which I'm hoping one day I would get my hands on a copy, but copies are very expensive these days. But what is cool about this pressing, the US one, is that it does come in a gatefold sleeve, which features Papa 2 and the Nameless Ghouls, along with the lyrics on this side. And this pressing comes pressed on translucent red vinyl, which is very nice. And then we get into some more bootleg territory. Here we have Rio's Ritual. This was from their performance at the Rock in Rio Festival from 2013. The source for this is most definitely the video broadcast that was broadcasted. The audio, it's basically soundboard, but the mix is a bit uneven in some places. It kind of adjusts itself as the performance progresses. This copy that I have is limited to 200 copies, and it comes pressed on translucent blue vinyl. And then moving onward in the same era, we have the If You Have Ghost EP. This is just a basic US press on black vinyl. I know there's a couple of colored variants out there that I have not gotten my hands on. I guess you could call this technically a mispress because the label does state, I'll just pull it out and show you. Hopefully if you can see it carefully, it's very small. It says that it plays at 45 RPM, whereas it actually plays at 33. I think all copies are like that, so all copies are mispresses, but considering that it's kind of the same across the board, it's not really a distinguishable type of difference. And then we have another live bootleg from this era. This is live at the Teatro Vorterix from Buenos Aires, Argentina on August 31st, 2014. As you can tell, they kind of botched up the cover because it does feature a photo of Papa 3 and the Nameless Ghouls. This is definitely taken from the video broadcast that is out there of the show, and it is, I think, much better than the Rio's Ritual performance. It's basically a full show from the Papa 2 era, so of course, you know, they're playing a lot of stuff off of Opus as well as Infest. They even do their cover of Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles, which was on the Japanese CD version of Opus Eponymous, I believe. Rather cool release. This copy that I have is actually limited to 50 copies, and it comes pressed on sort of marbled translucent red vinyl with some basic labels there, which is pretty cool. And then we move on to the Papa 3 Meliora era. And here is my copy of Meliora. For a while, I had just a standard black vinyl press, but I recently traded that in, and I got my hands on the Newberry Comics pressing. This is pressed on sea glass vinyl. I'll show it to you once I kind of go through everything, and it is limited to 1,000 copies. And of course, just for the sake of showcasing, it does come with a printed inner sleeve with a picture of Papa 3 and the Ghouls with the lyrics. And then to kind of further explain the illustration booklet, here is the one that came with Meliora. And there's basically illustrations for each of the songs on the album, which is very nice. Something to kind of look at as you listen to the album. Nice spread of Papa and the Ghouls. Very nice stuff. And then here is the color of the vinyl. It's kind of more like a sort of Coke bottle clear type of vinyl, but I guess it is still sea glass colored vinyl. And next we have a bootleg from the tour, and this is live at the Globen Annexet in Stockholm, Sweden on November 13th, 2015. This is actually from a radio broadcast for Swedish radio, and the sound quality on this is absolutely excellent. when you listen to this, you can definitely like hear how Ghost used a lot of backing tracks live, not to disguise the fact that there were live musicians playing on stage, but just, you know, the addition of like extra backing vocals and sound effects and whatnot. They really come across well defined on this bootleg recording, but it's a great undoctored live release from this era of Ghost. Here's the back cover. And I also should say that the one from Buenos Aires, as well as this one, were put out by a label called Iron Eagle Records. A very great bootleg label. And this pressing comes pressed on sort of marbled gray colored vinyl, which is absolutely stunning. And then as for the EP that came from this era, there is Popestar. And this is just a basic black vinyl US press that I have of Popestar. Then we get to the live album Ceremony and Devotion. Now, this pressing that I have is the Loma Vista exclusive pressing, which comes pressed on translucent Tiger's Eye colored vinyl. It is limited to 3,000 copies. And as you can tell by the artwork, it is the censored version because there's other copies of the album out there where Papa is showing something in this area of himself. I'll just showcase everything here. Nice gatefold jacket from, this is taken during Year Zero, where they have the flames. The presentation of this live album is absolutely amazing. Nice booklet with tour dates and live photos. And like I mentioned earlier, it was this tour that I first saw Ghost when they opened for Iron Maiden on their Book of Souls tour, and that just made me into an instant fan. So having this was somewhat of a souvenir of sorts. While they only played an 8-song set with Maiden, having something from just the tour in general is nice. And I'll also showcase the color of the vinyl. So it's basically like orange with like black smoke. It is very nice, and it kind of comes on a sort of stock Loma Vista label. I know that there was a custom label out there, I think in the European pressings, but in the US we got this one. And then we move on to the Prequel era. Cardinal Copia is at the vocal mic, and this pressing here is the Loma Vista exclusive. Now this one has a kind of 3D lenticular cover, which is very cool, and featured inside, of course, printed inner with a picture of the Cardinal with the ghouls lyrics on this side, and there's also a fold-out poster of the artwork, which is very nice. And the color of the vinyl is red with kind of black smoke, which is very nice. And this pressing is also limited to 4,000 copies, and there was also a 7-inch included as well, but we will get to the 7 inches in a little bit. And I also have a second copy of Prequel. Now, I own this because this is a non-lenticular version. This is just a standard jacket, but this is also the indie exclusive pressing that was released to mom and pop record stores. Same printed inner from before, and this one comes pressed on kind of, once again, Coke bottle clear sea glass colored vinyl. I will say in general, this pressing is quite noisy. Clear vinyl is a bit iffy in terms of, you know, just pops and whatnot, but it's still a cool thing to have. And now we get into heavy bootleg territory here for the rest of the 12-inch stuff. We have a Pale Tour named Death in North America. This was recorded live in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania on the Pale Tour named Death tour. This is very sentimental for me because I did see this tour. This was when they basically did an evening with style show, 2 one-hour sets, no opening act, and the fact that it was recorded at Wilkes-Barre, the show that I saw in Philadelphia was only just a couple days after this show. So this is a very nice, long-standing release to have. This was put out by a label called Heavy Metal Heroes Records. As you can see, it kind of comes with a Japanese obi strip. Here is the track list. Nice triple gatefold sleeve. And there's also an insert in here as well, which I will pull out. Very good stuff. Now, this is limited to 75 copies, and it comes pressed on white vinyl across the board. So this is very, very nice. Just a very nice momentum to have from a tour that I saw. Next up, we have BBC radio sessions. This brings together all of the BBC sessions that Ghost took part in between 2013 to 2019. So Papa 2 till the Cardinal. And this has an absolutely awesome color to it. It is basically clear vinyl with orange and white splatter. And as you can see, we have a cool picture of Papa 2 and the ghouls on this side. And we have a picture of the Cardinal on this side. So very cool release. Sound quality is great on this as well. Also, I should mention, just for anyone that is curious, the Pale Tour Named Death in North America release is an audience recording. Not too bad. You kind of have to crank it a little bit and adjust your EQ settings on your setup to how you like it to really make it out, but still is decent. And next we have this bootleg here. This is called From the Pinnacle to the Snake Pit. This was live at Stade France in Saint Denis, France on May 12th, 2019. This was when they were opening for Metallica during their Hardwired to Self-Destruct tour in Europe. Another audience recording. Not too bad. There's a bit, you can hear a bit more of the audience on this particular recording, but it still is enjoyable. It's a nice souvenir if you were there. And this pressing is limited to 50 copies, and it comes pressed on splatter vinyl, so it's like white vinyl with black and blue splatter. And as you can see, there's a Papa Nihil on the saxophone during Miasma on this side, and here is the Cardinal here. And then moving onward, we have God More Bootlegs. It's basically the rest of the 12 inches here. This is live and in session. This is sort of a nice counterpart to the BBC radio sessions. Here we just have various other, broadcast recordings that Ghost did, whether it was audio or video. So we have the music feed sessions from 2014 with Papa 2. Most notably the Deezer sessions. Those are great with Papa 3. The Sirius XM session of Zombie Queen is my favorite because it does have Papa 3 playing a kazoo. The video's on YouTube. You got to check it out. Then there's the Grammy Awards for He Is, TV France sessions for Life Eternal and Dance Macabre. So it just has a little bit of everything in that regard. And this comes pressed on sort of marbled white vinyl with some very awesome center labels. And this is limited to 350 copies. And the last piece, in terms of the 12 inches, is Live Eternal Ceremony at Wembley. This is live at the SSE Arena in London from November 2019. Basically, a kind of traditional headlining set. It's completely different from the Pale Tour Named Death in North America set list. Audience recording, but still relatively enjoyable. And this does come with a cool insert, which features a photo collage. And as you can see, there is the Cardinal plush, which is good fun. And there's even a brief write-up about the show, as well as the arrival of Papa Emeritus IV, who was recently anointed a little bit after this show took place. This is limited to 350 copies, and this comes on clear vinyl with black smoke. Now, in terms of other vinyl pressings that I have of Ghost outside of standard 12-inch releases, I do have the 10-inch picture disc for Year Zero, which is very cool. It features a version of Year Zero backwards on side B, which is kind of interesting. I don't really go after picture discs often. This was honestly a gift given to me, so this is still a cool kind of wall piece to have in the collection. And then for 7 inches, I do have a couple of things. Like I mentioned with the lenticular red vinyl version of Prequel, it did come with a 7-inch, which featured 2 covers, Avalanche and It's a Sin. And it comes pressed on the same sort of shade of colored vinyl as the regular album. And that is red vinyl with black smoke. And then moving in the same vein, sort of from the same era, I should say, we have the 7 inches of Satanic Panic little, I guess, single EP, whatever you want to call it, which features Kiss the Go-Go and Mariana Cross. This is just a standard black vinyl press, and it's marketed as being a limited edition release. Numbers have not been disclosed, but it is becoming scarce to find, so glad that I got this. And then in terms of modern territory with Papa Emeritus IV, we have the Hunter's Moon 7-inch. This version here is the Loma Vista exclusive, which I noticed is distinguishable from the other copies that are out there, because the one from Loma Vista, while it does come pressed on pumpkin orange colored vinyl, the B-side features the film version of Hunter's Moon, while the A-side is the single version. But if you go to like any record store or get any other copy, the A-side features the single version of Hunter's Moon, and the B-side is the theme to the film Halloween Kills, which is the film that this song was featured in. So that means it is another variant for me to track down, because it is distinguishedly different, and there's also standard black and red colored pressings out there, so I'll have to get that still. And last but not least, to keep things up to date, I did see Ghost on the current tour with Volbeat and Twin Temple, and I was very lucky to pick up the split 7-inch that was being sold at the shows, which features Ghost performing Enter Sandman and Volbeat performing Don't Tread on Me. These two tracks are available on the Metallica Blacklist release. This is limited to 3,000 copies, and only 115 copies are sold per show. And needless to say, I was at the venue very early to get early entry to get my hands on the 7-inch before it sold out. And it comes pressed on clear vinyl. And like I said, today their newest album, Impera, is being released, and I do have a copy on pre-order from the Loma Vista web store, which is the metallic gold vinyl pressing. I am expecting that to come in soon, and I will be showcasing that in my next monthly vinyl haul video, so be sure to stay tuned for that. But as of right now, March 2022, that right there is my Ghost vinyl collection. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to support this channel, be sure to check me out on Patreon. See you guys in the next video, and most importantly, keep the records spinning.